Question 1.1, we are going through the solutions for test 1.3 written on the 2nd of Feb 2018 at Yelesa, right? So the question deals with the quadratic inequality, which is written as x squared minus x is less than 12. And so let's look at how to solve this, right? So firstly, because quadratic inequality, we want to get it into standard form, which means we're going to have something like x squared minus x minus 12 is less than 0. Now remember that this thing represents a function, right? And that function is essentially something you may have learnt in grade 10. That function is a parabola that looks like that or that looks like that, okay? So here we're saying that function, which corresponds to its y value, right, needs to be less than 0. In other words, the function itself needs to be negative. Okay, so if I have to draw that out, the function being negative occurs when we deal with a function being below the x-axis, right? So all of that section there is less than 0. All of this section here of the graph will be greater than 0. Okay, so we're saying for which x values, if you have to solve for this, for which x values will the function be less than 0? Okay, so at this point in time, it's very, very simple. You can find the critical values by actually factorizing. So you're going to say factors of 12, you subtract to give you 1, and that's going to be 4 and 3, x and x. Okay, the 4 is going to be negative because the bigger number of these two take the sign of the middle term. That's going to be positive because this sign over here is negative. Okay, so now from this I can clearly see that my critical values is going to be x equals 4 and x equals negative 3. Okay, so you're not solving for it, okay? These are not solutions, right? These are not solutions because I'm not solving for this over here. These are essentially the critical values. So if I go to my graph, which I'm going to draw on that side in blue, I draw the graph like that, and then I'm going to plot these critical values. That value over there is going to be 4. That value over there is going to be negative 3. Okay, and now what I want to do is I want to see what actually happens over here. I want to see where is this curve less than 0, right? Where is this curve negative? Well, it entails all the parts of this graph that lies at the bottom. Do you see that over there? This here is where this curve is negative. Okay, and then if I color that in, I can either color it in and I can say, okay, this is the part of the graph I'm interested in. I need to answer the question by stating what values is x give me a negative 4. And as you can see, only if the values lie between negative 3 and positive 4, then I am talking about a negative graph. Therefore, the answer is x must be smaller than this number because that's the bound, which is 4, and greater than this number over here, which is negative 3. Okay, and there you have it. So if we have to look at the mark breakdown, it's either 3 or 4 marks. 1 mark for putting it in standard form, 1 mark for factoring, 1 mark for the graph and critical points plus the solution, right? If it's grade 11, we look at 4 marks and you get the 4th mark for giving me that. So that's question 1.1.